Welcome to the Juvenile Detention Center, where the manna is thick and the trouble is just getting started. A hushed whisper sweeps through the room. Did you hear the latest gossip? The word on the street is that the North District boss's right-hand man got sold out. Place your bets on how many ribs he's got left. Oh, you're optimistic. You really think he's getting out of this with just a few broken ribs? The crowd screams for blood. In this hellhole, dying is just another item on the daily to-do list. Everyone's shoving to get a better view of the carnage. It's getting ugly, folks. He stares in complete shock. Wait, what exactly is happening here? He begs for them to stop the violence. Someone finally snaps, shouting for the madness to come to an end. He cries out, desperately pleading for mercy. Drenched in blood and pushed to the brink, he unleashes a roar of pure, unadulterated fury. This is the face of a man who refuses to stay down. The brutal brawl reaches a fever pitch as he desperately fights to break free from his opponent's crushing grip. Blood spatters the air in this relentless, high-stakes showdown. Battered and bloodied, he pushes past his limits with a feral, bone-chilling grin. The hunt is on, and he refuses to go down without a fight. Surrounded and outnumbered, he unleashes a brutal counterattack in the heat of battle. One punch is all it takes to send his enemies reeling. One man stands tall in a sea of broken bodies, raining down ruthless justice on his final opponent. The prison yard has become a slaughterhouse, and he is the undisputed king of the carnage. Pure, unadulterated terror washes over him as he realizes he's staring death in the face. There's no escaping the nightmare unfolding right before his eyes. The onlookers are absolutely floored. He actually won the fight. They stare in disbelief, watching as he continues to brutally beat his opponent. He doesn't even look human anymore. It's like he's something else entirely. He's like a mad dog, dragging himself out of the depths of hell itself. A blinding flash tears through the darkness as the spotlight snaps to life. The target has nowhere left to hide. Bathed in the harsh prison spotlight, our blood-soaked hero stands tall over his fallen foes. The terror in his enemy's eyes says it all. This fight is far from over. Hell? A mad dog? Nah, they've got it all wrong. The place he came from, battered and bruised, he stalks toward the gate with lethal intent. There's no turning back now. It was way worse than hell. His life was a total piece of trash. At least it was for a while. That was until he met that man. He desperately hopes he'll be safe here. He slams the door shut, desperately trying to lock away the chaos behind him. There's no turning back now. Pure, unadulterated terror takes hold as their legs tremble uncontrollably. The tension is reaching a breaking point. Pure, unadulterated rage surges as he grits his teeth to the breaking point. Every muscle is coiled, ready to explode in a desperate fight for survival. He only realized it once the target set his sights on him. The tension spikes as a single, calculated step echoes through the room. Someone has arrived, and there's no turning back now. He calls out, Amamori. He wonders where his target is hiding. He searches every corner of this world. He prays, hoping the monster is gone. Terror grips his soul as cold sweat and tears stream down his face. He's staring into the abyss of absolute despair. He smiles, having finally found his prey. Oh no, it's all over now. He realizes he has to run for his life. There are things much scarier than hell itself, like the person standing right in front of him. A thunderous impact rocks the battlefield as he delivers a bone-crushing blow. The sheer force of his strike leaves no room for mercy. He tells him to just close his eyes so he won't feel a thing. What a considerate guy, right? He promises he'll get it right on the first try this time. The pressure hits a breaking point as he fights back a flood of raw, agonizing tears. Every muscle in his face screams with the weight of his suppressed despair. What could possibly be scarier than hell? It's the humans who get off on hurting others. Brutally hoisted by the scruff of his neck, the broken man is left dangling in absolute terror. His spirit is shattered, and there is nowhere left to run. They look down on anyone who isn't violent. He complains that his weapon chipped. Man, talk about poor product quality. The weak have no way to survive in this world. In Country H, violent crimes by minors were rampant. Public outrage grew as the juvenile law proved useless. Even for the worst crimes, the max sentence for a minor is 20 years, and those under 14 are often released on the spot. The government reformed the law by removing the sentencing cap, but for him it was just a technicality. Instead of a punishment, these measures only fueled the rise of juvenile crime. Now, for kids, strength is everything. To the bullies, it's just a game. To the victims, it's a nightmare they can't wake up from. No one dares stand up to the strong. All that's left is pure despair. The school gates loom large as two students step out, completely unaware of the chaos awaiting them. The golden hour strikes as our hero stands at the threshold of a new beginning. Everything is about to change under this burning sky. Cornered and trembling, the victim faces a pack of ruthless bullies closing in for the kill. The tension is suffocating as they loom over him, ready to strike. They gossip about how his brother is in juvie for murder. How scary. They taunt him, asking why he doesn't call his big brother for help. Since he's the brother of a criminal, they decide it's only fair to collect some tax from him. He tries to defend his brother, but they aren't listening. He stands there, helpless against their malice. They tell him to shut up. Looks like he needs to be taught a lesson. The weight of the world crashes down as he stands frozen in the wake of pure, unadulterated shock. His trembling fists reveal the terrifying truth. Everything he knows is about to change. He mutters to himself that he survived another day. The color drains from his face as a chilling realization shatters his world. Absolute terror takes hold, and there's no turning back now. A lonely pup stares up with soulful eyes, pleading for a savior to rescue him from the streets. Will our protagonist step up to change this little guy's fate? He notes that the dog is covered in scars too. They're in the same boat. He screams for them to stop. He begs them to leave the dog alone. He cries out for help. One bully recognizes the uniform from the school next door. He mocks him, calling him Amamori. He greets him with a sinister look. He stutters, unable to find the words. They taunt him about his hungry underclassmen, while he offers the little food he has. They sneer that even a dog would have more than that, harsh but true. They order him to make sure he has breakfast money for them tomorrow. He agrees, desperate to end the encounter. Cold sweat drips as absolute terror freezes him in his tracks. He's just realized he's in way over his head. He lets out a sob. He politely asks them to excuse him. He asks if they could maybe let that kid go. They laugh in his face. They claim that since his brother is a murderer, he's just as guilty, collective responsibility, they call it. They mock him for being cocky and failing to use honorifics. They warn him he shouldn't be talking like that in front of Kanemato. Kanemato, the boss who rules Hanam High with an iron fist. The devil who won't stop tormenting him. He cowers, apologizing and claiming he didn't see anything. He admits he doesn't have the strength to help. He cries out for help, only for the bullies to mock him to curse his own fate. He apologizes for being so pathetic. He keeps saying he's so sorry. He realizes he can't do anything. He has no friends and is completely alone. The heavy silence of the city looms behind him as he stands at the threshold of a new, uncertain reality. One step forward is all it takes to leave his past in the shadows. The tension in the cramped room is palpable as the two sit in silence. One man drowns his sorrows in a bottle while the other watches on, waiting for the inevitable clash. They demand their payday money. He tries to explain he needs the cash for groceries. They yell at him to shut up. The lock clicks and the door swings open, revealing a sliver of terrifying uncertainty. Someone is coming, and there's nowhere left to hide. They tell him if he doesn't have the cash, he should earn it with his body. Some people have no shame. He lets out a cry of pain. He apologizes to his mom, lamenting that he's too weak to fight back. They berate him, calling him a piece of trash and no better than a dog. They stand over him, looking down with disdain. He claims he stepped in dog crap and demands the kid lick his shoe clean. Talk about a power trip. They force him to apologize, claiming it's an honor to lick their boots. He calls them a damn animal. They mock his parents, saying they must be dogs too. He screams at them not to talk about his mother. The mask slips and pure, unadulterated rage takes over. His composure has shattered, revealing the monster lurking beneath. Adrenaline surges as he lunges forward with raw, desperate intensity. There's no turning back now. The confrontation begins. He screams for them to stop. Pure, unadulterated shock flashes across his face as he realizes he's been caught off guard. The situation has taken a turn for the absolute worst. He yells at him to get out of the way. A brutal strike shatters reality as blood sprays into the air. The intensity reaches its breaking point in this moment of pure, visceral impact. A brutal blow sends him crashing to the floor in agony. He's completely overwhelmed by the sudden, crushing impact. Will he get crushed? The fight begins. He curses in frustration. He mutters another curse, readying himself. The dam has finally broken. With trembling hands and a lethal blade, he's ready to unleash his absolute fury. He screams that it's happening right now. He yells at them to stop it. Pure, unadulterated terror shatters his composure as the reality of the situation hits home. He's staring straight into the abyss of his own defeat. He tells her he's okay, begging her to just calm down. He declares that he is going to protect his mom. The ultimate display of disrespect. With a cold, calculated sneer, he spits on his opponent to seal their humiliation. He shouts that this is ridiculous. They complain about the brats outside and now this chaos at home. With a sudden, heavy thud, they make their move. The tension spikes as they storm into the room. He begs them to please stop. They challenge him, calling him a worthless failure. They promise to show him his place. A lethal strike whistles through the air as he narrowly dodges certain death. Panic sets in, the hunter has just become the prey. The blade is unsheathed with lethal intent. Tension fills the air as a strike becomes inevitable. Fear grips him as the cold realization of defeat shatters his composure. His eyes widen in pure, unadulterated terror. With a wild, desperate snarl, he lunges forward to deliver a crushing blow. The tension explodes as he strikes with everything he's got. A brutal, bone-crushing impact tears through the air. Blood sprays as the lethal strike finds its mark. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The stage is set for a brutal encounter in the middle of a torrential downpour. A chilling silhouette looms behind the glass, sealing a victim's fate in the pouring rain. The trap is set, and there's nowhere left to run. Rain lashes against the glass as he stands alone, consumed by the weight of his thoughts. The silence is deafening, masking the storm brewing deep within. A sudden, brutal strike tears through the air. Blood splatters as his defenses are completely shattered. The fire in his eyes is extinguished by a crushing blow. Paralyzed by sheer terror, the man watches his weapon slip from his blood-soaked hands. The nightmare has only just begun. Pure, unadulterated terror shatters his composure as the nightmare finally catches up to him. The realization hits harder than a freight train. He's completely out of options. He cries out for his mother, his voice cracking under the agony of the strike. The bully sneers in shock, clutching his wound and barking that the brat actually had the guts to stab him. He gasps through the pain, insisting he only ever wanted to protect his mother. The antagonist, unbothered by his injury, sneeringly challenges him to try it again. He mocks him, daring him to step up and finish the job. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. A desperate voice calls out, frantic and trembling. She begs for mercy, swearing that Masaki didn't mean any harm and pleading for his forgiveness. The bully snaps, ordering her to get out of his way. He shoves her aside, snarling that she is nothing but an obstacle. Masaki screams for his mother, his heart breaking at the sight of her being manhandled. He begs the bully to stop, his voice cracking with pure desperation. A confused, muffled noise escapes his lips as the chaos intensifies. The bully declares that he is going to teach this brat a lesson he'll never forget today. The tension reaches a breaking point as a mysterious figure prepares to strike. Everything changes in a single, heart-pounding moment. He screams for his mother to run, knowing this monster won't stop until he's satisfied. The tension spikes as he swallows hard, his throat tight with unspoken dread. Every drop of sweat signals a moment of pure, suffocating pressure. He stands his ground, growling that he will protect her no matter the cost. He tells her not to worry about him, urging her to get out of there while she still can. A heavy fist slams down, sending the bottle skidding across the table. The tension just hit its breaking point. He shouts for her to run, his voice raw with the effort of holding back the bully. Driven by sheer desperation, he slams his hand down in a burst of raw, trembling intensity. The pressure is mounting, and he's ready to snap. He whispers an apology to his mother, his spirit finally beginning to fray. The bully roars, calling him a damn brat for daring to defy him. He spits on the ground, pinning all the blame for this chaos on his victim. The bully taunts Masaki, reveling in the misery he's created. Masaki struggles to hold on, his consciousness fading as the room spins. Broken and bloodied, he descends into an abyss of pure, unadulterated despair. Every drop of blood marks the painful end of his resolve. He reflects on his failure, mourning the fact that he couldn't even save his own mother. He curses his own weakness, sobbing as he feels utterly useless. A passerby notices the lone boy, shocked to see him standing there without an umbrella. She pities the poor kid, noting how he's absolutely drenched from head to toe. Someone should really tell him that standing in the rain is a great way to catch a cold. He flinches, pleading for them not to look at him in his pathetic state. A chilling realization stops him dead in his tracks. Terror washes over him as he senses something lurking in the pouring rain. The stranger offers him her umbrella, showing a sliver of kindness in this godforsaken night. She tells him to get home fast before he catches a cold, unaware of the darkness surrounding him. The facade shatters as panic takes hold. He's spiraling into an abyss of cold, rainy dread. Sometimes kindness is the most confusing thing you can encounter when your life is falling apart. She wonders if she should be helping a stranger, but remembers her brother's advice about helping those in need so that others might help her later. He stares into the void, wondering where in the world he is supposed to go now. A stray cat rubs affectionately against a leg, seeking warmth in the cold rain, a tiny moment of comfort in a harsh world. The world freezes as his eyes widen in pure, unadulterated terror. Death is staring him right in the face. A dog barks in the distance, cutting through the heavy atmosphere. He wonders if this is from that fateful time in the past. The memories are coming back to haunt him. He apologizes to the dog, explaining that he has no food and, more importantly, no home to take him to. The dog continues to bark, seemingly insistent on following him into the abyss. He tells the dog to wait up, his voice weary but strangely comforted by the company. A relentless downpour swallows the city, casting a chilling shadow over the towering skyscrapers. Darkness looms as the storm sets the stage for an epic confrontation. A lone man braves the torrential downpour, sprinting through the dark city streets to reach his mysterious companion. The race against time begins. The dog barks again, leading the way through the labyrinth of the city. Even a stray dog has more direction in life than our protagonist right now. A lone figure braves the downpour, unaware of the looming shadow stalking his every step. Tension hangs heavy in the rain as danger closes in. He mutters to the dog, acknowledging that he brought him to this desolate place. He sighs, deciding that it's not like he has anywhere better to go anyway. He resigns himself to spending the night in the cold, hard shelter of the streets. A sudden shower breaks the city's calm as the sun struggles to pierce the gloom. The stage is set. The silence before the storm begins. The dog barks, sensing something that Masaki hasn't yet realized. It's always the quiet ones who get into the most trouble. A familiar, unwanted voice calls out, mocking him with a sinister tone. The glasses glint with cold, calculated intent as he finally locks onto his target. There's no turning back now. The hunt begins. The tension boils over as our protagonist locks eyes with the absolute menace mocking him. This arrogant player is flaunting his entourage, daring him to make a move. He asks why this nightmare of a person is here, his voice trembling. The bully explains he lives nearby, then turns his venomous focus toward his friend, questioning their loyalty. He claims they are best friends, but the look in his eyes suggests something much more toxic. The dog senses the hostility and begins to growl, baring his teeth. Cornered and trembling, he finds an unlikely protector as his loyal dog steps up with a vicious growl. The beast is ready to tear through anyone who dares to cross its master. The bully mocks him for his silence, demanding he say something. He laughs, telling him to show some backbone and start barking like the mutt at his side. The pressure hits a breaking point as his teeth grind in sheer, suffocating rage. Every muscle is coiled, ready to snap at any second. He snaps that he's exhausted from dealing with these idiots and warns them not to push him further. The silence that follows is thick enough to choke on. These guys really don't know when to quit, do they? The bully mocks him again, demanding he hurry up and bark like a dog. The dog lets out a sharp, defensive woof. The bully screams in rage, calling him a piece of trash. The tension snaps as he brutally shatters his opponent's wrist. Panic erupts while his enemies watch in utter terror. He looks at his protector, shocked that someone or something finally stood up for him. The bully bellows in pain, swearing that now he has truly crossed the line. He orders his lackeys to attack, the situation spiraling into total violence. They swarm forward, ready to tear everything apart. The tension explodes as two ferocious beasts lock eyes, preparing for a brutal showdown. Fangs are bared and nerves are frayed in this high-stakes standoff. The beast snaps, baring razor-sharp fangs in a terrifying display of pure aggression. There's nowhere left to hide from those bloodthirsty eyes. A short, sharp gasp escapes his lips as the violence kicks into high gear. The beast snaps its jaws with lethal precision, tearing into its prey. A spray of blood marks the brutal end of this savage clash. The brutal beast snaps, leaving its victim helpless in a spray of blood. The witness can only watch in frozen terror as the carnage unfolds. He pleads for them to stop, his voice barely a whisper against the violence. He begs them to end this madness before it goes too far. The bully forces him to watch, telling him to take a good look at the carnage. He sneers that it's completely impossible for a weakling like him to ever protect anyone. He cries out that he's going to die at this rate, his heart shattered by the sight. The bully lets out a cold, mocking laugh, relishing the despair. He commands him to watch closely, to witness the exact moment his hope dies. He tells him to burn this image into his brain forever. He threatens him with a promise of even worse things to come if he ever defies him again. The beast strikes with bone-crushing force. A single, lethal bite seals the victim's fate. A brutal, silent strike tears through the beast in a flash of crimson. It doesn't even have time to scream before the darkness claims it. He screams in agony as his hope is ripped away. The bully exerts total dominance, forcing his victim into a state of absolute, tear-filled terror. There is nowhere left to hide as the torment begins. He groans, the weight of the world crashing down on his shoulders. The bully sneers, calling the scene before him absolutely filthy. Some people really have no class when it comes to being a villain. He tosses a disgusting ultimatum his way, promising forgiveness only if he eats what's on the ground. He starts the countdown from 5, daring him to resist the humiliation. Masaki internalizes the pain, realizing he thought he had found a glimmer of hope after being liberated from his loneliness. He wonders why the universe seems intent on stripping everything away from him. He recalls the fleeting moment of courage he felt when he tried to protect someone else. The reality sets in, he failed, and he is back to being completely alone. He questions if he is even worthy of feeling warmth in this cold life. He stares into the abyss, his self-worth crumbling. Is he truly destined to have every single thing he loves stolen from him? The air turns electric as he rises with a chilling, predatory glare. The tension just hit an all-time high. The bully mocks him, asking what he thinks he's doing by standing up. The air turns frigid as he stares down his enemy with pure, unadulterated killing intent. No one is walking away from this confrontation unscathed. The bully taunts him, claiming that if he lays a finger on him, he'll be sent straight to a reformatory. The smirk says it all. A sinister trap has just been sprung. With a cruel grip, the predator closes in on his unsuspecting prey. He laughs, saying that even if he survives the reformatory, he'll probably be killed the moment he steps out. He vows to hunt him down until the end of time, warning him that even suicide won't be an escape. He drops the final blow, mentioning that his mother is about to be sold to a hostess club. He grins, adding that his friends are already waiting to take care of her. He mocks him with the idea of a younger sibling who might be able to visit his grave. He asks what he should call him, suggesting that dog fits perfectly, right before barking at him. He digs deeper, making vile comments about his mother and suggesting she's no better than a dog. A chilling, manic laughter erupts from the darkness. Madness has finally taken hold. Masaki admits that every time he hears the name Nagao, he shakes with pure fear. But something in him has finally snapped. He isn't shaking with fear anymore. He is shaking with pure, volcanic rage. He bellows that there are lines that simply should never be crossed. The tension snaps as a brutal, blood-soaked confrontation explodes into a desperate struggle. His life hangs by a thread as his attacker goes for the throat. The bully is stunned, screaming in disbelief that the weakling actually hit him. The realization is dawning on him that his reign of terror is slipping. A feral surge of violence erupts as the attacker sinks his teeth deep into his target's flesh. There's no escaping this brutal, blood-chilling confrontation. Talk about a dramatic turn of events. The bully screams in agony, his world crashing down around him. He bellows for help, labeling his attacker a murderer as the crowd watches in horror. He cries out for his mother, his bravado completely shattered. The tables have turned. A bloodied victor looms over his fallen opponent, ready to deliver the final blow. Battered and bloodied, he wears a chilling grin that spells disaster for his enemies. The mask is off, and the nightmare has only just begun. The silence of the aftermath is the loudest part of the night. The gavel falls, the court is officially in session. The prosecutor lays out the case. The defendant, 15-year-old Masaki Memory, stands accused. The charge is clear. On the night of the 15th, he brutally assaulted his classmate, Nagao. After the dust settled, he found himself in handcuffs, facing the cold reality of an arrest. He poured his heart out, explaining the brutal bullying, but the police turned a blind eye. Thanks to the school and teachers being bought off by his tormentor's mother, he was left completely alone. His own father was no better, locking his mother away to ensure no one could come to his aid. With everything crumbling around him, he has no choice but to face the music. The judge slams the gavel, sentencing him to 5 years in a reformatory for assault. Talk about a raw deal. On that fateful day, he walked out of one living nightmare, only to step directly into another. He's entered a place so cruel, it makes his school days look like a vacation. Here, only the predators survive. It's an infinite, soul-crushing hell. Cold rain lashes against the unforgiving barbed wire, sealing the fate of those trapped within. There is no escape from this dark, desolate prison. The heavy chains rattle as he steps into the spotlight, bound and ready to break free. His shackles are nothing but a temporary weight on his path to absolute power. A guard barks at him to quit stalling, as if he's not already having the worst day of his life. He can't believe the irony. He was the victim of bullying, yet he's the one locked up, while his tormentor walks free. He's marched into the examination room, where the real dehumanization begins. The guards scream at him to strip down, treating him like a piece of livestock. The tension hits a breaking point as the crew strips down, revealing the scars and ink of a brutal past. There's no hiding now. The real fight is about to begin. When asked for his name, he barely whispers, Amamori. The guard demands he speak up, clearly bored with his lack of enthusiasm. The processing continues as he is stripped of his identity. The guard mocks him, asking if he's the guy who bit someone's nose off. He is assigned the number 8125. His human name is officially dead. From this moment on, he is nothing more than a number in the system. He is shoved forward, his new life of misery officially underway. Shackled and scarred, he walks into the darkness of his new prison reality. The heavy chains can't hide the dangerous intensity radiating from his gaze. The guards order him to turn around, his every move scrutinized by the watchful eyes of his captors. Trapped and bound, the prisoner's hope hangs by a thread. The cold steel of the handcuffs marks the beginning of a brutal nightmare. The prisoners are branded like cattle in a ruthless, systematic processing. Their humanity is stripped away as the cold inspector marks them for their dark fate. A finger slams onto the dossier, sealing a deadly fate. The target is marked, and the game is officially on. He is ordered to strip completely, leaving him with nothing but his dignity, which they are also trying to take. Pure rage boils over as he grinds his teeth in a desperate struggle. The pressure is reaching a breaking point. He lets out a pained grunt as the dehumanizing process drags on. A tense hand grips the fabric, signaling that the confrontation is about to explode. The silence is heavy, but the action is just seconds away. A brutal, lightning-fast strike lands square on the target. The victim crumbles instantly under the overwhelming force. He watches as his last shred of dignity is tossed aside like trash. The cycle of humiliation and fear is relentless. The system officially logs his profile. Amamori Gen, 5-year term, prisoner number 8725. His spirit feels completely shattered. The tension is suffocating as the prisoners are lined up under the cold, watchful gaze of their captors. Every heartbeat echoes in the silence before the storm breaks. The director arrives, and the inmates are forced to stand at attention. The director clears his throat, preparing to address the new batch of students. He claims the place isn't strict, which is definitely the biggest lie of the century. He offers his help, then mentions that the facility is gender segregated. Good luck finding a date in here. For a split second, Amamori thinks maybe it won't be so bad. Oh, how wrong he is. The director drones on about becoming a necessary part of society. Yeah, right. He is ordered to move along to his new living quarters. A group of inmates spots the newcomer, already salivating at the prospect of a fresh punching bag. Amamori snaps back at them, showing a spark of defiance that he probably shouldn't have. The older inmates label him as the perfect target, ignoring his attempt at pushback. The atmosphere thickens with malice. A sinister smile creeps across his face as the trap finally snaps shut. Terror grips the victim, realizing there's nowhere left to run. The bully taunts him, claiming he's prepared a special room for his new pet. Locked away in the suffocating darkness, the hero faces a cold and ruthless imprisonment. Hope is fading fast behind these iron bars. They drag him toward his new living nightmare. The prison doors are locked, but the danger is just beginning as a sinister guard looms right behind him. Our protagonist is trapped, and there's no telling what twisted game is about to unfold. They mockingly tell him to enjoy his stay. The reality of his 5-year sentence sinks in. An inmate demands his name, looking for any excuse to start a fight. He stammers out his name, clearly intimidated. A lightning-fast strike connects, sending shockwaves through the air. That brutal slap leaves him reeling from the sheer impact. The bully demands his number again, making it clear he doesn't care for names. He shouts his number, 8125, trying to survive the encounter. It's time for the welcome ritual, which is just code for a beatdown. The initiation is about to begin. They warn him to carve this rule into his brain. He is told he is nothing more than a dog, and his master's word is law. He grits his teeth, telling himself he just needs to endure the pain. The bully notices his defiance and decides to turn up the heat. Someone calls a halt, but the damage is already done. Now, it's time for a lecture on the prison's brutal social hierarchy. The inmates explain the chain of command, from the district head down to the pariahs, where Amamori sits at the very bottom. He is ordered to hand over all his supplies to the room leader, who will keep the best for himself. The golden rule is clear: never defy someone above you. If you do, the consequences are severe, and they are very eager to show him exactly how ugly it can get. The bully decides he needs a stepping stool and picks Amamori, because of course he does. He demands Amamori kneel so he can reach the sink. The excuse is that the sink is too high, but we all know it's just about power. With a cold, calculated stomp, he crushes his opponent into the dirt. Mercy isn't in his vocabulary today. They mockingly call this an honorable job for a lowlife like him. The bully relieves himself, utterly indifferent to Amamori's suffering. The humiliation is total. He groans under the weight of his own misery. A brutal, point-blank strike connects, sending the target crashing to the ground in an instant. The shockwave of the impact leaves no room for mercy. Amamori finally snaps, screaming that he'll kill the guy. Bold move for someone currently on the floor. He realizes this place is a level of insanity that makes his past bullies look like saints. He mentally apologizes to his mother, fearing he won't survive this. He begs for a moment of mercy. A mysterious figure steps in, asking why someone would bother protecting a brat. They exchange sharp words as the tension spikes. The newcomer makes it clear this isn't his business. He tries to calm the situation down before things get bloody. He suggests the higher-ups must have a reason for sending Amamori here. He drops a warning. If they kill the kid, there will be hell to pay. The bully pauses, realizing maybe he shouldn't push his luck. He begrudgingly accepts the warning, though he clearly hates it. He leaves Amamori in the hands of his new protector, warning that they are now both responsible for each other. The silence in the cell is deafening as a new victim grovels before the iron-fisted boss. Order has been established, and the hierarchy is written in blood. Broken and beaten, he barely clings to consciousness as a silent hand offers a lifeline. Will this mysterious medicine be his salvation or his downfall? His savior hands him a rag to clean himself up. He wonders why anyone would help him in this den of wolves. The savior warns him to remember his place. If he doesn't learn the rules, he's a dead man walking. He tries to refuse, but he's told that survival is the only thing that matters. The daily schedule is a rigid, soul-crushing routine of study and labor. He finds out who his roommates are and what chores they're stuck with. He's still trying to adjust to being called 8725. The warning is simple. It's free time, so don't make a scene. The shadows sprint past the bars in a desperate bid for freedom. Time is running out and there's no turning back now. Other inmates are already looking for trouble during their downtime. Something is happening, and the prisoners are crowding around to see. The facility map shows the various districts, each one a different circle of hell. This is the grim reality of the reformatory. The crowd screams in a frenzy behind the fence, but he remains completely cold and unfazed. A chilling silence follows as he exhales, ready to unleash hell. A fight breaks out in the yard, and the participants are clearly out for blood. He stares them down, completely unimpressed. He tells them that if they really want to fight, they should stop talking. Put up or shut up, the classic prison motto. The arena erupts as the protagonist launches a brutal, high-flying assault. One strike is all it takes to send his opponent soaring into the air. The crowd cheers, demanding that the opponent finish the job. Even the onlookers are confused by the sheer intensity of the violence. It's a full-blown riot, and nobody is lifting a finger to stop it. They're even smoking during the brawl. The guards really don't care at all. On the surface, it's a school. In reality, it's a gladiator pit. The 4 districts divide the prisoners, making the facility a massive, controlled mess. A savage, bone-crushing blow connects with ruthless precision. The battlefield erupts in a spray of blood as he obliterates his opponent. Amamori is left wondering what is actually going on. Strength is the only currency that matters here. If you're strong enough, you can even take over for the guards. It makes the guards' lives easier, so they look away. As long as nobody actually dies, they don't care what happens. The cycle of violence is the only constant. Bets are flying, and the pressure on the fighters is immense. With a lethal, lightning-fast kick, our protagonist sends his opponent flying. The rest of the thugs are left frozen in terror as the beatdown begins. A brutal clash erupts as he intercepts the blow with raw, desperate power. There's no backing down now. It's pure, unadulterated carnage. Bloodied and unhinged, he snaps. A terrifying grin reveals the pure malice behind his lethal strike. A brutal, lightning-fast strike connects, leaving his opponent absolutely shattered. There's no mercy here. Just pure, raw devastation. A thunderous, bone-crushing impact sends blood spraying into the air. The brutality is absolute. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. With a sickening snap, he ruthlessly shatters his opponent's arm. The fight is over before it even begins. A massive, bone-crushing blow descends from above, leaving no room for escape. Terror paints his face as the strike seals his fate. With a bone-shattering blow, he sends his opponent flying through the air. The rooftop brawl reaches a fever pitch as pure power takes center stage. The carnage is absolute as he stands tall amidst a pile of broken bodies. No one is left standing to challenge his dominance. Everyone stares, wondering if he's even human or just a monster in disguise. The bandages tighten as a surge of raw, explosive power coils within his grip. He's ready to shatter everything in his path. He lets out a primal roar, asserting his dominance over the yard. The tension hits its breaking point as he lunges forward with a lethal, high-speed strike. There's no turning back now. It's kill or be killed in this brutal showdown. A single, devastating blow sends his opponent flying. The power behind that strike leaves no room for mercy. A brutal, lightning-fast kick connects, sending his opponent spiraling into the air. Blood sprays across the arena as the dominant force claims his victory. Bathed in the spotlight of victory, our hero stands tall over his broken opponent. The fight is over, and the gap in power is absolute. With a grip of pure determination, he clenches his fist tight. The tension is reaching its breaking point. The predator has arrived, and the crowd is paralyzed by pure fear. One look at that shredded physique tells them their nightmare has only just begun. The crowd goes wild, chanting his name and praising his overwhelming strength. They watch in absolute disbelief, struggling to process what they're seeing. It's like he isn't even human. His power is completely off the charts. A chilling smirk creeps across his face, signaling that the real carnage is about to begin. He's done playing games. That smirk widens into a terrifying grin. He's finally snapped, and there's no turning back now. The onlookers wish they possessed even a tenth of his insane power. But let's be real, hoping for that kind of strength is just wishful thinking for these guys. Exhausted and defeated, he collapses into the shadows, leaving his vision discarded on the ground. The next day brings a new set of problems. The prison cafeteria erupts in a deafening roar of chatter as the inmates gather for their daily routine. Someone questions why there was no punishment for such a violent fight, but an inmate reminds them that violence is just the status quo here. The rules are simple. Beat a higher-ranked inmate, get promoted, and the guards couldn't care less. It's a lawless jungle, and the guards are just there to watch the show. Is there anyone brave enough to step up and challenge the status quo? It's a death wish unless you've got the power to back it up. The terrifying reality is that you're actually allowed to kill your opponent. Just another Tuesday in this delightful paradise. Right? He knows the struggle. For those without strength, survival is a game of hiding. The only way to stay alive is to keep your head down and suffer in silence. Finding a powerful backer might be the only way to avoid a permanent dirt nap. Suddenly, a shout echoes through the room. Everyone needs to move, now. The boss has arrived, and the air turns ice cold. Everyone scrambles to their feet. The boss of the North Block is here, and he looks like he's in a mood. What could the boss possibly want with them today? The suspense is building, and honestly, I'm just here for the snacks. The tension spikes as a heavy foot slams down, marking the start of a brutal confrontation. A terrifying titan looms over his prey, eyes glowing with murderous intent. The pressure is absolutely suffocating. He confirms his presence with a cold, sharp tone. A brutal, sudden grip catches him off guard, and terror flashes in his eyes as he's seized by the throat. He introduces himself as Retsu Kanemoto, and he clearly isn't here to make friends. A twisted smirk spreads across his scarred face as he revels in the chaos. The predator has his prey trapped. He reveals he's the older brother of the guy who lost his nose in the earlier scuffle. He's the one who summoned him to the North Block, and he promises to take care of him in the worst way possible. He warns the entire room that this guy is his property. Touch him and you're a dead man. One brutal strike sends him crashing to the floor. The odds are stacked against him, but the fight is only just beginning. That hit looked like it hurt, even from here. His friends rush over, worried he's going to end up just like the last guy who crossed the boss. They know he's headed for a world of pure, unadulterated hell. He decides his best bet for safety is the bathhouse. It's clean, empty, and hopefully isolated. Maybe he can finally catch a break in the quiet of the washroom. Caught completely off guard, he barely has time to turn before a devastating kick comes flying his way. The world plunges into sudden, suffocating darkness. A chilling tension grips the air as everything falls silent. A voice cuts through the silence. It's the new kid, and he's clearly in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's being treated like fresh meat by a predator who's clearly hungry for trouble. The bully tells him not to be scared, but we all know that's exactly what a predator says before the hunt. He tries to tell them to back off, but his voice is trembling. The bully asks if he enjoys this kind of situation, clearly enjoying the power trip. He's having the time of his life, which is frankly a bit concerning. He tells him to let go, but the bully just tells him to stop being so stiff. It's time for some fun, and it's definitely not going to be fun for our hero. The pressure is mounting, and he's barely holding on. Pure terror flashes behind his lenses as he faces his breaking point. A brutal, unseen force slams into him, distorting his face in agony. The pressure is absolute. His world shatters as he hits his limit. Pure, unadulterated rage begins to consume his thoughts. The bully is impressed. He thought the new kid would break much faster than this. He's loving the resistance, which just makes him even more dangerous. A brutal, crushing blow catches him off guard, slamming his head against the wall with bone-rattling intensity. He begs for a moment of mercy, but mercy isn't on the menu today. The bully asks if he's planning to get in his way again, taunting the captain nearby. Didn't he hear what the boss said? Property is property. He warns that leaving a mark on the kid will cause a huge problem for everyone involved. The tension is so thick you could slice it with a dull butter knife. He claims he was just teasing him, which is the classic excuse for a total jerk. He offers the captain his spot, daring him to step up if he's so worried. He warns him to think carefully. Even if he's protected now, his future is looking pretty grim. Another day, another threat. This place really needs a better HR department. Someone checks to see if he's still in one piece. That guy is way too dangerous, and he's desperate to figure out how to get him off his back. Retsu Kanemoto is terrifying, but he's also a weirdly effective shield against other inmates. Since he rejected the boss's hospitality, retaliation is basically inevitable. Cleaning the bathhouse is tough work, but at least it's not getting beaten up. The ground trembles as they launch into a high-speed sprint. Every step hits with explosive force. Surrounded and cornered, he stands his ground as the thugs lunge for the kill. Someone screams in confusion. What is even happening right now? A brutal, bone-shattering blow connects square with his face, shattering his defenses in an instant. He's accused of laying a hand on the captain, and the mob is ready to tear him apart. They decide that as long as they don't kill him, they can do whatever they want as punishment. The chaos is getting out of hand, and someone finally stops to ask what the heck is going on. Dr. Kanda appears, and the thugs pretend they were just educating the kid. The doctor warns them not to overdo it. He doesn't want the paperwork of a dead inmate. They agree to leave the rest of the work to him, clearly disappointed they can't finish the job. He tells him he got lucky, but we all know that luck is just a temporary shield here. A heavy silence hangs over the medical office door. What secrets are buried behind this threshold? The doctor warns that this is going to hurt, like he wasn't already in enough pain. A mysterious, blood-stained cloth wipes away the evidence of the brutality. The truth is being scrubbed clean. The doctor tells him not to hold back if he needs anything else. He insists he's fine, but he looks like he's been put through a meat grinder. The doctor looks surprised. Maybe he didn't expect the kid to be this stubborn. He's definitely got more guts than anyone expected. Maybe he's not such an easy target after all. The shadows shift, revealing a gaze that spells absolute doom. The predator has locked onto his target again. Masaki offered to cover his shift, but he's still not back, and the anxiety is starting to set in. Something bad definitely happened to him. This prison is just a giant trap. He calls out for an officer, desperate for some kind of answer. No response, just the cold, indifferent silence of the prison. He screams for help again, his voice echoing through the halls. Someone, anyone, please pay attention. An officer yells back, annoyed at being woken up. Talk about poor customer service. He turns to the room leader for some backup. He explains that Masaki went to the baths and vanished. He needs someone to listen. The room leader tells him to relax. They'll find him without all the screaming. He's told to just shut up and wait, which is the last thing he wants to do. Apparently, his missing friend is less important than the officer's nap time. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Overcome with pure rage, he slams his fist into the ground. The tension is reaching a breaking point. He finds Masaki, and the sight is absolutely devastating. The prison yard erupts as the inmates storm forward in a chaotic surge. All eyes are fixed on the path ahead. He screams for everyone to move aside, desperate to get through the crowd. It's a total madhouse, and the energy is absolutely frantic. A cold, terrifying realization dawns in his eyes. Something has just shattered his remaining composure. He pushes through the crowd, screaming Masaki's name at the top of his lungs. Everyone stops to look at the carnage. This is going to be bad. Someone notes that whoever did this really went all out. They didn't hold back at all. Is Masaki even still alive after a beating like that? Pure, unadulterated rage surges as his fist clenches with trembling intensity. He is about to snap. The mask is off and the rage is boiling over. There's no turning back from this absolute fury. The bully mocks the situation, saying it was pretty good work. He tells him that he's the one he really wants to play with. The target has shifted. He questions the timing, but honestly, criminals don't really check their watches before starting a fight. He yells at him not to think he's getting away, grabbing him by the collar. A violent clash ensues, and the sound is enough to make anyone cringe. He roars at him, asking if he's trying to get himself killed. He just wants him to let go. But this guy clearly has a death wish. A brutal clash erupts as a desperate defense meets raw, overwhelming power. The tables are turning. He's warned that he's got a lot of nerve getting in the way of a good time. The shock is visible on everyone's faces as the power dynamic shifts again. It's that person again, the one who always seems to cause trouble. He tells them to move, he just wants to take a shower and he's not in the mood for games. Everyone is confused. Why is he here and why does he care? The bully decides he's not worth the trouble and heads off to find someone else to bother. The bathhouse is a total disaster zone. Talk about a cleaning bill. He calls him an annoying guy, which is definitely the understatement of the year. It's his job to deal with this, but he's clearly not having a good day. He warns him that this isn't over. The grudge is officially set. The tension hits a breaking point as the predator looms over his trembling victim. There's nowhere to run. The drain churns violently as the dark water vanishes. Something sinister is being pulled away with the tide. Even Nagao is spooked. Just who exactly is this mysterious powerhouse? If only he could be that strong. he could finally protect the people who actually matter to him. He tells him if he's done, he needs to get out of there immediately. The thought of Masaki weighs heavy on his mind. He can't just leave him. The heavy cell door slams shut, sealing off any hope of escape. He's trapped in the cold, dark silence. He calls out for Masaki, but the silence is deafening. He's drowning in guilt, believing that his mere presence is just causing more trouble for everyone. He's desperate to know how to get stronger. The cycle of violence just never seems to end. A sudden movement catches him off guard. Masaki tells him he's patched up and just wants to crash. He's had a long, painful day. He blames himself again, but Masaki is too exhausted to argue. Masaki tells him not to cry. He's safe, and that's all that matters right now. He can't help but wonder why anyone would go that far just for him. Maybe he's starting to realize he isn't completely alone in this dump. The fabric tears away to reveal a horrific, glowing wound beneath. His body is breaking down, and the clock is officially ticking. He reflects on his younger brother, noting a striking resemblance to the person standing before him. He explains that his brother was brilliant but timid, making him an easy target for bullies. After his brother finally snapped and ended a bully's life, he took the fall to protect him and landed in this prison. Talk about Brother of the Year material. He wonders about his brother's life now, hoping he found the normalcy he was denied. He recalls seeing the boy being bullied right at the school gates. He is stunned to realize that the victim was actually Masaki's brother. When asked if he knows the boy, he confirms it with a heavy heart. He anxiously asks if the boy is doing well and if he seems happy. He reassures him that the boy seems to be having a great time with his friends. A wave of relief washes over him, followed by a racking, painful cough. He knows his sacrifice wasn't in vain. He declares he's reporting Nagao to the officers, but is met with the blunt reality that it's impossible. He demands to know why his plan won't work. A sharp shoe cuts him off before he can say another word. He reveals that this reformatory is hiding a dark, twisted secret. It is a secret so terrifying it keeps the inmates in constant fear. The air grows cold as the gravity of the situation sinks in. A desperate hand slams against the cold metal bars. There is no escape from this brutal confinement. He calls out to Tamiya, his voice cutting through the silence. He mocks Tamiya, sarcastically asking if he had fun during his latest beating. Tamiya snaps back, demanding to know what kind of sick game he's playing. Tension hits a breaking point as a sinister shadow looms behind the unsuspecting target. A cold, calculated threat is closing in, and there's nowhere left to run. He warns Tamiya to watch his mouth, reminding him that Nagao is always listening. He taunts Tamiya, daring him to repeat his insolence in front of Nagao. Tamiya quickly backs down, deciding that a break is much healthier than a confrontation. He questions how Tamiya can remain so calm, worried he's actually going to snitch to Nagao. He emphasizes that everyone here must hide their true selves to survive. He insists that one must use every resource available to stay alive. He wonders if this advice is tied to the dark secret they discussed earlier. They agree to meet at the infirmary tomorrow, bidding each other a tense goodnight. The tension spikes as a body is ruthlessly discarded in the shadows. The grim disposal leaves no room for mercy. A chilling silence falls as the moon hides behind encroaching storm clouds. Something dark is brewing in the shadows of the night. A sharp, ragged cough echoes through the darkness. He finds himself paralyzed by worry, wondering if his friend is going to pull through. He reflects on how Masaki always told him to endure, yet he continues to suffer through this hell. He questions if silent endurance is really the best way to survive. He dreams of being like the strongest inmate, someone who can actually fight back. Even the ruthless Nagao seems to fear him. He must be the alpha of this prison. He wonders in awe how that man managed to take down 4 people at once. A brutal, blood-soaked nightmare erupts as he jolts awake from a terrifying vision of carnage. The line between reality and trauma shatters in one adrenaline-fueled second. He lets out a sharp cry, still haunted by the images in his head. He realizes that trying to play by the rules is a losing game. He frantically searches for a way to live without being crushed. A torrential downpour descends upon the grim, barbed wire horizon. The stage is set for a dark and desperate escape. Under the shroud of a grim, dimly lit corridor, a fragile ally is hauled away into the unknown. The silence is broken only by the heavy, echoing footsteps of their mysterious captor. He apologizes for the late-night meeting, but his ally tells him not to worry. He is surprised, thinking everyone in the facility was already asleep. The shadows lengthen as an ominous figure strides forward, flanked by guards and radiating pure intimidation. There's nowhere left to run. The confrontation is finally here. Nagao steps out, questioning the new kid and the doctor about their late-night stroll. The doctor calmly lies, claiming he's taking Tamiya to the infirmary. Nagao narrows his eyes, clearly suspicious of their story. The doctor brushes it off, claiming Tamiya's old wounds just reopened. Nagao gives a curt, suspicious nod of dismissal. He tells them to take care of themselves, though his eyes say otherwise. Once out of earshot, he demands to know why the doctor didn't report Nagao. The doctor explains they can't trust a single soul in this place. He drops a bombshell. They are manufacturing drugs and selling them to the outside world. He is stunned, asking who on earth would have the power to pull off such a crime. The doctor admits he doesn't know the mastermind yet, but plans to use that secret as leverage. He insists on taking full responsibility for the patient's treatment to keep the doctor's cover secure. He aggressively tells the others to stay out of his way if they want to keep their jobs. The stoic doctor reaches out to examine the mysterious patient, her focus razor-sharp. A tense silence hangs in the air as she prepares for the chilling truth. He finally agrees to leave, seeing no other choice. He tells Tamiya to get proper treatment, promising to wait for him. The mask slips, revealing a chilling, calculated gaze that spells nothing but trouble. The silence is deafening as he prepares to make his move. He reminds him of his mantra, "Just endure it." He reiterates that he is on his own. Trusting anyone here is a death sentence. With a sharp, decisive step, he marks his arrival. The tension is palpable as he makes his move. He believes that once the doctors see Masaki's injuries, the director will be forced to act. He hopes this is finally the chance to make that bastard pay for his crimes. The cafeteria buzzes with tension as the line inches forward. Every second feels like a countdown to a confrontation. He wonders when Masaki will return, thinking some fresh air might do him some good. A rumor spreads that someone tried to escape last night and ended up dead. Talk about a bad career move. A twisted, sinister grin spreads across his face as he realizes his devious plan is finally in motion. No one is safe from the madness brewing in his eyes. He drops the name like a bomb. It was Masaki Tamiya. The cafeteria tray slams into the floor with a deafening crash. Chaos erupts as lunch goes flying in a display of pure, unbridled rage. The tension in the prison yard is palpable as our protagonist stands amidst the wolves, clutching his trembling hands. Something big is about to go down. He stands in total shock, unable to believe the news. Is Masaki really gone?